All right, you ready?
Yeah.
We are live. Welcome to the Simply Incredible Podcast. This is Daryl, a.k.a. The D, here with Rick Shaibani.
Thanks for having me, Coach.
And he looks like he's in the witness protection program. He's like a silhouette over here.
Something like that. Yeah.
And for those who don't know, he's been on our podcast before 2015, right before Christmas. We meant to have one last year, but unfortunately, family and everything before Christmas, everything was so busy and hectic, so we couldn't do it.
Yeah, glad to be back, and of course, it's always a treat to be, even if I can't be there in person, be there live. So here we go.
One question before we get started: what did you think about the Oscars?
It was crazy. I did not watch them live, but I was following them on Twitter, and when I heard that they had Steve Harvey, the Oscar, I was very shocked and bewildered, and then I found out, oh, hey, Moonlight won Best Picture, and I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, so I haven't seen it either.
I'm still reserving judgment on that. Yeah. But yeah.
I'm still mad that none of the movies that I enjoy are ever really nominated for much. So, but, it is what it is.
Yeah, Coach was quite vocal about that on Facebook, for those of you who didn't see that.
Oh, my goodness. I was letting the world have it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, comic book movies deserve their day in award court, so to speak.
I guess that's going to be reserved for the Fan Choice Awards, I guess.
Sure. Why not?
But anyway, the real reason we're here, the night before the real beginning for the NCAA men's tournament, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pick my women's tournament now, Connecticut. I'm done with that.
Yep.
They haven't lost a game in 3 years. I don't expect them to lose one in the next, 6 games. So
hard to argue with that. I agree.
That's a machine they got up there. All right. For those who don't know, you can join our group on ESPN. It's on the Men's Bracket Challenge. This will be Simply Incredible Podcast, not the Simply Incredible Podcast, just Simply Incredible Podcast. All right. Let's see. Where's my bracket at? There's my bracket. All right. We'll start off in the East. You ready?
Yep.
All right. Villanova against who just Mount St. Mary last night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's going to be pretty much a bloodbath. Nova has looked all as close to unstoppable as unstoppable can get this year.
Yeah. So
I reckon that they'll win pretty easily.
Except when they got lucky and beat Virginia. Just saying. Next game, we got the 8 versus 9. Wisconsin versus Virginia Tech.
The 8 versus the 9, that's always one that can go either way for obvious reasons. And Wisconsin overall, they've had a stronger schedule. I mean, Tech has had a great season, and so has Wisconsin. But I feel like just based on strength of schedule and overall talent and depth, I feel like the Badgers are going to win that one.
Oh, we're going opposite on this one.
Really?
I'm picking my hated Hokies in this one.
Ooh, that's a big deal for you right here.
Now, well, it's my East Coast bias.
True. Yeah.
No, but the thing is, I've seen him play a lot, and they are a really good team. And their coach, Buzz Williams, that guy, I was really surprised when he went to Tech because I thought he was really stepping down a notch going to Tech from an
assistant at Marquette going to Blacksburg. You don't see that ever.
Yeah. And he's really brought those guys up. Even though they do have that one guy that's injured. I want to say his name is Clark, I think. But I think they're a good team. They have a good heart.
They're a lot more aggressive than they get credit for.
Yeah.
They definitely play at a very fast and exciting pace that really gets those fans in the stands, and they're a really exciting team to watch.
Mm-hmm. Next in the bracket, we got number 5 UVA versus number 12 UNC Wilmington.
Yes, the Seahawks of UNC Wilmington.
Which I don't know how they became Seahawks, but okay.
Well, they're close to this.
Are they? Are they right around? Okay. I was saying they're a little bit further off the shore. Okay.
But yeah, a lot of people are liking them as a Cinderella special this year. UVA, I mean, they're not the UVA of last year or the year before, but they're definitely getting past the first round. I like their chances, and I think Tony Bennett and company definitely are going to be prepared and ready to right out of the gate. So I think it'll be close. But I like UVA by, let's say, 8 points.
Okay, I think the line was like 7.5.
There you go.
There you go. Look at you, right on it. But
Yeah.
I'm obviously going to pick UVA in this one. But Wilmington, they can shoot the lights out from 3-point range. And Virginia, our defense is more to try to keep the ball from going inside. So I'm hoping that doesn't really kind of go into Wilmington's hand there. But I'm still going to take UVA with their defense. And hopefully the man bun can hit some 3-pointers. Kyle Guy.
For sure. Now we've got Florida versus East Tennessee State. That's the number 4 versus number 13 in the East. Now Florida, they're consistent contenders. They're always in the mix pretty much every year. Even after Billy Donovan left, they've managed to stay relevant. You know, they're going to be heavily favored in this one too, and I'm picking them by maybe 10 points in this. What do you think?
You're going with the lines on them. Come on now.
I don't know the lines.
I don't know the lines, but I'm saying you're giving points with them. I'm just like, I'm taking Florida. Now, but here's always saying, like the 5-12 and the 4-13s, you don't always have at least one upset in there, but I don't think it's going to be right here.
Oh, yeah, mine are definitely elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, next, was it SMU versus the winner of, is it the game playing now? No, the game playing later tonight.
Yeah, Providence or USC.
Mm-hmm. Is that who that is? Is that USC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because South Carolina is elsewhere. Yeah.
Okay.
But and SMU, I really like them to possibly get further. I don't see them as a Final Four team, but they've looked very solid consistently throughout the year. I think they won 30 games, like they were 30-4 or 31-4 or something like that.
Do I have that written down over here? Let's see, 29-4.
Okay, yeah, they've looked really, really good so far. They've got a very athletic group, I think, and I'm pretty sure they'll win that one easily. Again, that's another one you always got to watch for the upsets, the 6 versus 11s. But I like SMU's chances. The Mustangs I feel like they're going to be, again, ready to go right out of the gate and be able to compete at a high level.
See, I think they'll be going against Southern Cal in that game.
You think so?
That's who I'm thinking. But I think if they get Southern Cal, it will be a good game. But I definitely pick SMU on that.
Okay, yeah. Well, we'll know for sure who SMU's playing by tomorrow. So yeah,
probably around midnight or so tonight,
give or take.
Yeah, because the one game's going now. Let's see, Baylor versus New Mexico State.
My alma mater.
I was going to ask that. I could never remember. It's like, is it New Mexico? Is it New Mexico State? I was pretty sure it was State.
People get it wrong all the time. No worries.
Well, it's a 50-50 chance. How am I supposed to guess?
Yeah. I mean, we had the best regular season in school history, 28-5. 2 conference losses, both on the road, and we stormed through the tournament over in Vegas pretty easily this week. But Baylor, obviously, they've been number 1 a couple times this year. They're very experienced. They don't panic. They never get those pregame jitters. I feel like they're gonna play it close. I mean, I've obviously got MSU in my bracket, but realistically, I think Baylor's going to win, but it's going to be close. Baylor's they're kind of mirror images of each other. Baylor's very experienced. I think they have an all-senior lineup.
Really?
Something like that, yeah. But as opposed to NMSU, who has 1 senior on the whole roster. But at the same time, we've played a lot of postseason games in the past, so we're young, but we're also experienced. So I think that's going to be an interesting deciding factor in the game, and that's going to be played in Tulsa, I think, in the regional.
Let's see that. Yes, Tulsa. That's in Tulsa.
Yeah. It's on Friday morning, I think. But
let me see. Is that right? Where's I just at? Thursday. My paperhead says Thursday.
Okay.
But
I don't know.
That's been known to be wrong before.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take Baylor in it, but I totally agree. This very easily could be an upset here.
I saw on one of the ESPN was breaking it down with a 30-second video for every team in the tournament, and they were saying they really were tempted to pick NMSU as an upset special, but they think Baylor's experience is going to give them an edge. So that's another big one to watch. And what about you got any more thoughts on that one, or
No, that's all I got on that one. No.
Okay, yeah.
Next up, South Carolina, the other SC against Marquette, the 7-10.
Yeah.
That's in South Carolina.
There you go.
A little bit of favoritism there. South Carolina. Who did I say Marquette? I did say Marquette, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been over 3 seconds. I thought maybe I said the wrong team there.
No, you're good.
What do you think? Man, I think I'm gonna take Marquette in the upset in this one.
I'm with you. Yeah,
Okay.
I haven't seen much of South Carolina this year.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're usually not that great in basketball, but obviously they were good enough to make the tournament this year. I feel the SEC, it's not a basketball conference,
right.
but I feel like they're a quality team, and they're not quite in that upper echelon yet, but good tournament edition. But Marquette, that's such a historic program, so many great players, and they've got just as athletic a team as any they've had this year. So I like them for it'd be a mild upset. Yeah.
I think that's about it. It'd be mild at most. I don't think it'd be anything that really would be talked about a lot.
For sure.
One thing about South Carolina, the women's basketball team coached by UVA's Dawn Staley. So there you go.
Hey, yeah, she was a very notable Cav who had a lengthy WNBA career.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, a Hall of Famer. She's like multiple gold medals in the Olympics. National Player of the Year in college. So legend, legend in these parts. For people that know what women's basketball is around here.
Yeah. Many.
Took them to the Final Four, to the championship game, and we should have won. But against Tennessee, we should have won that game. But anyway, missed free throws at the end. I'm not bitter.
I'll take your word for it.
Duke versus our good friend Troy.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Champy's got a team.
Yes. I bet he doesn't even know.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, that's a good shout out to our friend and fellow podcast.
Yeah, my wingman on the podcast just about every week.
Yeah. Yes. We all three of us go way back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Now I would have had him on here, but he knows next to nothing on basketball or football.
He's never has he? Yeah.
Only thing he knows about is martial arts. He and comic books.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, Duke had
Troy should win by 50.
Duke had a dreadful couple of weeks there in January and late part of December rather, and they rebounded where it counted, and they, no pun intended, and they did a great job in the ACC tournament. And a lot of people are saying they could win it all this year. I don't think so, but they definitely look like a Final Four team right now.
I mean, there's a lot of people saying that they still can win the way they've turned it around the last like maybe month of the season. Really turned it around.
Yeah, they are looking red hot right now, and they're going to beat Troy by quite a bit.
I mean, win 4 in 4 days in the ACC tournament, never been done before. That's impressive right there. Even though I still don't like them.
Yep. So that's the first round of the Eastern bracket.
Do you want to go through the entire East and then go to the next one, or just kind of go all the way down the round of 64?
Let's keep going with the 64.
All right. I will go down to the West.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. We got number 1 Gonzaga versus San Diego State.
That's actually South Dakota State.
That is South Dakota State.
Yeah. The Jackrabbits.
Yes.
Yeah, and obviously Gonzaga has been number 1 almost all year.
Yeah.
They're going to win easily, and I like them. I actually like them going all the way to the Elite Eight, but we'll get to that later.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know a lot of people have said that they thought Duke should have been number 1 instead of Gonzaga right there.
Well, I mean, who is number 2 in that? Oh, Arizona's number 2 in that bracket.
Mm-hmm.
So no. Maybe. I honestly don't really know all the metrics and statistics that go into where everyone goes in which bracket, but a Gonzaga-Duke Elite Eight matchup would be a real treat for sure. Both those teams have been red hot.
I'm saying that they were saying a lot of the professional people thought that Duke should have been the number 1 seed and Gonzaga should have been put down to the number 2.
I can't agree.
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, Gonzaga was way more consistent throughout the year than Duke was. And granted, everyone's going to say, "Oh, Gonzaga had an easy schedule."
Yeah,
but they've just been so physically impressive and so consistent throughout the year that it'd be a criminal not to give them enough seed. So.
I totally agree with that. Some people actually said that maybe Duke should have been a number one over Carolina as well against UNC. I mean, they did just beat them twice once in the regular season, then once in the tournament.
Right.
So I could see their argument, but I still think Carolina was more consistent. We'll get to that part later too, I believe.
Sure. Yeah. Now Vanderbilt and Northwestern.
The 8-9 in that one. Again, to me, Northwestern finally first time in a tournament.
Yep.
So that give them an applause for that. Vanderbilt, as I recall, the most losses for a seed that wasn't a champion, a conference champion. I can't think of the word for that. What is the word for that?
Yeah.
Anyway. I'm taking Northwestern in that one.
Right.
I don't think Vandy should even be in the tournament.
I think Vandy's going to win just because Northwestern. I don't know. I mean, for them to get as far as they've gone is amazing, but just the lack of any tournament experience is going to hurt them there. I mean, I don't think Vanderbilt's the better team, but I think they're going to have the edge just based on they've been on that stage before. They know what it feels like. They haven't experienced it in a while, but at least they've experienced it, and Northwestern never has.
Right.
So I mean, I know Northwestern wants to make a great impression. Their fans are crazy excited, and but I just don't see them getting past the first round in their first tournament appearance.
Yeah. And this is going to be in Salt Lake City, by the way. Those two games right there. I don't know. I just think they're Northwestern in a tougher conference for me over the SEC, the Big Ten over the SEC. I think it's a little bit tougher. So to go 23-11, I'm gonna give them that edge in that one.
Yeah.
I've been wrong many times before, so there you go.
Now we've got another potential upset special, or at least a lot of people are saying. We got Notre Dame taking on Princeton, number 5, number 12, and obviously last year Yale was in a very similar position. They were a 12 seed that knocked off 5th seeded Baylor in the first round, and some people were saying Princeton can be that Ivy League upset this year, but Notre Dame, they look very dangerous physically. They've been consistent. They don't beat themselves. They create turnovers, but they don't turn over the ball.
Yep.
They've been able to have competed very well against a really tough ACC schedule this year, and I think they're going to beat Princeton, but it's going to be close.
I think it's going to be close. Notre Dame, again, me being in the ACC, I see so many of these games. They had a little stretch where they kind of struggled a little bit as well, but picked it up to make it to the ACC championship game. Some people said they were in the easier bracket in it, but
that might explain they got a 5 seed rather than a 4 or 3.
Because Duke lost the last game of the season. Lost to Carolina. If they had won, that would have been switched. But I think it's going to be I'm taking Notre Dame. But again, like you say, I think it's going to be less than 6 points, something like that.
Agreed.
Somewhere in that ballpark. Let's see. West Virginia against Bucknell, the 4 versus 13.
Yeah, I don't think that one will be close. I mean, I think maybe the first half will be, but West Virginia's going to pull away with that one.
Yeah, that pressing defense they have.
I think West Virginia, they've been overshadowed by Kansas, Baylor, Iowa State, the tri at the top of the Big 12, but West Virginia's been another team that's kind of, they're going to use that to their advantage in the postseason because, they've gotten overlooked all year long. But I think, tournament time is their time to shine, and they're going to do pretty well. Yeah,
they beat Virginia in early in the season, but, I mean, their pressing defense is so tough. When they start locking it down and forcing turnovers, they're going to be tough to beat against really anybody. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I really think West Virginia's got that one, again, pretty easy, too.
Yeah. I'm going to get some better lighting here real quick.
All right. No one wants to see your face. That ain't right. I like to apologize.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, West Virginia, that was another thing. In addition to Virginia, I think they beat a few other big non-conference opponents early on, and so yeah, they've had a tough schedule, but they've been able to really emerge from it relatively unscathed injury-wise, and obviously they're going to use that experience, that big game experience, as fuel for them in the tournament. So I like their chances.
And then Maryland versus the X-Men. Oh, Xavier.
The Musketeers. Yeah. I honestly like Xavier in that one. I think Maryland is another team that, they had to go through a really tough conference schedule in the Big Ten. They've also got kind of, that chip on their shoulder because they've been overlooked. But I think Xavier, generally speaking, they've had a history of, upsets, especially in the first round. So I think they're going to use that to their advantage and pull out a narrow win. What do you think? I'm
going to take Maryland in a close one as well, but I just think they're going to have just that little bit, and really I want them to make it to the second round so they can play an ACC team.
Yeah.
That's really the only reason I'm picking that game that way. I'm not going to lie. That's really it.
Can't blame you. And now, speaking of the ACC, we've got number 3 versus number 14. We've got Florida State taking on little brother, Florida Gulf Coast.
And they had a big run a couple years ago.
Yeah, and their head coach at the time ended up getting the USC job only a couple years later. So, yeah, I think that's going to be, this is not going to be another upset, unfortunately. But it's great to see Florida Gulf Coast back where they belong. And FSU, I love what I've seen from FSU this year. They've done a really good job. I think you mentioned already they beat UVA once or twice.
Once. They only played once this year. Oh, wait, no, they did play twice, and they did beat us twice. Yeah, because they're so long.
They've got some incredible athleticism on that team. They are really, again, they're very disciplined. They don't beat themselves. They really know
coach, really good coach.
Yeah, they play 2 full halves every time. I think they're definitely one of the most dangerous teams in the tournament this year.
And it's interesting that I was watching one of their last games, and they pull a 7-footer off the court and put a guy in 7'4". Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, like
fast, long, athletic. I do think they're kind of underrated, though. Now, I'm not saying in the tournament, but I think a lot of people are thinking they're not Duke, Carolina, Louisville.
They've had to battle that stigma for years because FSU is not a historic basketball powerhouse, and they don't have that program history to sell that the UNCs and the Dukes can sell to recruits. So I think given those historic disadvantages, they've definitely been able to have a lot of sustained success over the last 5 years. So.
Exactly.
Now we've got VCU versus St. Mary's.
Yeah, I'm going to take VCU, and again, a very mild upset. And I really don't know much about either team, though.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to VCU. I'm going to go the opposite route. I think this is going to go to overtime, but VCU is going to lose. Kudos to VCU. They could have easily fallen off the radar after Shaka Smart left town. They've stayed in the mix. They're in a tougher conference than they used to be, but they know how to compete. They're moving forward, and they've done a really good job so far. And they lost to Providence in the championship game, in their conference championship game, I believe. But they're still good enough to make it into the tourney. St. Mary's, I don't know much about them either. I think they're going to eke out this one, but I think it's going to be close. This could be a buzzer beater in overtime.
Let's see. St. Mary's is 28-4. VCU is 26-8.
That's about as close as you can get.
That's some impressive records right there. Which conference is VCU in? Are they in the Big East?
No, they were in the Colonial.
Yeah, I knew they were in the Colonial.
Now they're in the Atlantic 10.
Oh, they okay. All right.
Yeah.
Because I thought Providence was still in the Big East is what I was thinking.
Yeah, I thought so too. But they moved over. So did St. Joseph's and a few other teams too.
All right.
Yeah. But and now we've got Arizona and North Dakota.
Yeah. This is not going to be pretty, I don't think.
No, not at all. Arizona's that's going to be another one of the blowouts, similar to what we talked about with Duke and Troy. I mean, God bless North Dakota. I know they're going to try, but they're just going to be overmatched in that one. So.
Yep, that's exactly what I think. I mean, I think it's going to be like one of those 40-point games, and you got the the guys that never even see the court get to play some.
Yep. And now we are in the
Midwest
bracket. Yes,
upper right.
Yeah, I almost said the North bracket. Yeah, the Midwest.
Yes, the North bracket. Why did they do that? Why did they have Northeast, South, and West?
I don't know. Yeah. I think they may have back in the day. I don't know, but yeah. Let's see. Okay, so we got Kansas versus. Oh, this is the game that's going on right now.
Yep.
We got North Carolina Central versus
UC Davis.
UC Davis. Yeah, that's okay, cool.
Yeah, I was like, UD, is that Delaware?
Yeah. I whoever wins the play-in game, they don't get much of a reward either way.
No.
So Kansas is going to win easily. I don't see there's never been a 16 seed that's upset a 1 seed to my knowledge. So Kansas is not going to take. They're not going to look over their shoulder, but they're not going to look past these guys either.
Yeah.
I think they're going to convincingly win. So
see, this one's in Tulsa, so not too far from Kansas. Yeah, I just expect really a rout in this game.
Yeah, it always happens.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got this should be interesting. We got
really
Miami versus Michigan State, the 8 versus 9. What do you think?
Well, I'm going to go with Miami, but the reason is because I think Michigan is down a little bit this year, and Michigan has also been UVA's nemesis too.
Michigan State.
Yeah, Michigan State, yeah. The last few years, well, not last year, but the 2 years before that, both years, maybe 3 straight years, they took UVA out of the big dance.
Well, last year, Michigan State got shocked by Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, everybody was saying, they're going to meet again, and they're going to get past them. So.
I mean, you hate to see a program with that much history, Izzo and all those guys. I don't think that's the last thing they want, obviously, is to be bounced in the first round for 2 straight years. But Miami, I've liked what they've done this year. Larinaga, he's done a great job. He's always someone who very much, preaches the, accountability and discipline and, mental toughness that
former UVA assistant coach.
And former George Mason head coach when they got to the Final Four.
Yeah.
So he's going to have them prepared, and I think they're going to win that one.
I wonder how old he is, because he was an assistant coach at UVA back when Ralph Sampson was there.
Yeah, that was the late 80s, wasn't it?
No, that was Ralph was there from 79 to 83.
Wow.
Yeah. So how old is Larinaga?
Yeah.
Can Miami score the same number of points as Larinaga's age?
Good question. We'll have to, I'm curious. I'm going to look that up real quick.
I mean, he had to be in his at least mid upper 20s back in the early 80s.
Oh my goodness, he is 67 years old.
Let's see. So that would have been 36 years ago.
Yeah.
80 was 36 years ago, 37 years ago now. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, they can score that many easy. But, I mean, it's hard to ever go against Izzo in the big tournament. It's really difficult to.
Yeah.
So good a coach.
But I think if anyone could, it'd be a guy like Larinaga.
Yeah. I mean, I think the big reason is they lost Valentine from last year. Was it Denzel Valentine, I think was his name?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to take Miami, but I'm not real comfortable with that one at all.
Oh no, yeah, it's. I hope this doesn't mean that Michigan State's on a permanent decline.
I don't think so. 'Cause he's such a good recruiter. I think it's just like a blip. That's what I'm thinking is.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see, where are we at? Iowa State, number 5 against number 12 Nevada.
I've got an upset in this one.
Are you going Nevada in this one? The Wolfpack?
Well, yeah, the Wolfpack. The reason I say this is because I saw Nevada beat New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
New Mexico State's big rival. They beat New Mexico in January. Not even joking here. 20-point comeback in the final 2 minutes.
Oh, you know what? I remember seeing that on ESPN.
They won in overtime. It was the largest deficit they'd ever overcome, and simultaneously the largest lead that UNM had ever given up at home.
Yeah.
So I was absolutely astonished at that. And they're coached by Eric Musselman, who was in the NBA in the 90s.
He was in there for a long time, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how those NBA journeymen end up coaching these college teams. You're like, oh yeah, I remember that guy.
Man, a 12-5.
Yeah.
Man, you're talking me into this upset. You really are.
They did a really good job in the Mountain West this year. The Mountain West was the opposite of what it usually is. Like, you've got UNM, you've got San Diego State, you've got UNLV. They were all terrible this year. So basically, there was this massive overnight power shift, and I think the top 3 teams were Nevada, Fresno State, and Boise State. So it was a complete shift in power overnight, basically. So I don't think we'll see that again in the Mountain West, but Nevada took advantage of it, and they won the tournament easily. So I really like their chances. They're coming into the postseason with a ton of momentum.
Nah, I'm not going to pick the upset there.
Okay. I always say it for Coach D here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's... Yeah.
All right.
That's my lock of the year. No, it's not. Purdue versus Vermont. I just watched Vermont the other day. They're a tough team. They're a physical team.
Yeah, and they're one of those teams that you always forget about. They play in an obscure conference. I think it's the Atlantic East, something like that. Like they're in a conference with like UMBC, Maine, Stony Brook. These tiny little Northeast schools that no one ever hears about until tournament time. But yeah, they've definitely they've shown a lot of grit and determination from what I've seen of them. And but Purdue has just been outstanding this year. I mean, they've been in the top 25 most of the year, and I don't see them. They're going to put their foot down as far as this goes. So I say Purdue by 12.
Purdue 25-7, Vermont 29-5. I'm going with the record on this one. I'm taking Vermont. There's my upset.
Oh, here we go. Let's make it interesting.
Yeah, there we go. You got to have one.
Yeah, well, I've already had like 1 or 2. So
yeah, I see another one later on down the stretch. I'm going to have 2.
Okay.
Creighton versus Rhode Island.
Ooh, yeah. Rhode Island has been. They're a team that's kind of been. They're another team that's been overlooked this year. What's the record?
24-9.
That's pretty average for a tournament.
Yeah.
But they obviously were good enough to get an 11 seed, and Creighton, they've had a lot of injuries this year.
25-9 on them, but
they're one of the weaker teams. Like if you had picked the tournament in December, Creighton would have been a 2 or a 3 seed, but they've just been on a skid. It's not due to lack of talent. It's just the injuries have been piling up, and they haven't been able to close out some of the games they should have closed out. I wish I could say Rhode Island will pull off the upset, but I think Creighton will win by 3 or 4. It's not going to be.
I'm picking the upset in this one too, and I just don't think this is a huge upset here. I think it's going to be a tight game, and I agree. I'm thinking 5 points one way or the other.
Okay.
Which, I mean, that's a 10-point spread there, but I think it could be a tight game one way or the other. So, but yeah, a little upset, tiny upset.
Now we've got Oregon versus Iona.
I can just go right on past that one. Oregon should just run roughshod, I believe.
Yeah, but Oregon's another team that's had a lot of injuries. I don't see them past the Sweet 16. Again, if they had, a few months ago, they might have definitely been in that ballpark, but I just don't think they have the overall depth to be true contenders this year.
Yeah, they were number 1 for a couple of weeks too, I believe, early at the beginning of the year.
I think that was right around Christmas time.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's a team that, I think they're seated right where they should be, but I think they're going to run right through Iona. Let's see what kind of records they have. Iona 22-12, no slouch, but I just think Oregon's just going to run over them. I'm going to say about a 15 to 20 point game right there.
Yeah. Michigan versus Oklahoma State. This is an intriguing matchup for me because Oklahoma State, again, they're not the team that they were 5 years ago.
Right.
There's a lot of transition. A lot of players have come and gone. But overall, they've looked reasonably solid. They did it pretty well in their tournament. I think I'm picking the mild upset here. Michigan, again, all the credit in the world for after their plane scare, being able to regroup and win 4 of those games and win the conference.
That totally shocked me.
Oh, yeah, that was incredible. But, I mean, I know they're going to try to ride that wave of momentum and try to take advantage of it as much as possible. But I think Oklahoma State, might be that brick wall that they're going to come up against.
Yeah,
so
I'm going Michigan in this one because I got the 10 seed in the other two brackets. But no, I think Michigan, I think they are going to ride that wave. And I thought it was, when I first saw their first Big Ten tournament game, I was like, what kind of throwback jerseys are they wearing? And then you hear what happened. Their luggage has been confiscated until the investigation. I'm like, this is crazy.
Wow.
So I'm taking Michigan to win one game. Win one game.
Yeah. Okay, and Louisville versus Jacksonville State.
Your number 2 versus your number 15. What you got?
Louisville by 10 points, let's say.
Yeah, I think Louisville, they're strong. Coach Pitino, he's there every year. Just about every year. So
they're always going to be a factor. They're always going to be a factor. And here we go. We've got the South bracket, which is getting a lot of crap because a lot of people think it's the weakest bracket of the bunch. What do you think?
Well, I see, 20-some-odd championships in that division, in that bracket.
Well, I think, you know how we were talking earlier about Gonzaga and Duke being switched. Yeah. I think this should have been switched. I think Kentucky should be number 1 seed. UNC should be number 2.
Yeah, Kentucky won their the regular season, won their tournament. So in Kentucky, they're still really young. Let's see, what's their record this year? I mean, yeah, they're young. They're terrible. They're 29-5 this year. They're horrible.
Yeah, they've got they lost all 5 of their freshmen last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're still reloading.
Yeah, you got Moses on that team, and who was that other guy that was just dominating Sunday?
Monk, I think.
Yeah, Monk and Malik Monk. Yeah. But there's another guy on that team, too.
Monk has been their superstar freshman this year. But, they've got so much talent. They always do. Yeah. They're going to... But, let's get those two out of the way right now. UNC over Texas Southern and Kentucky over Northern Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
But give Northern Kentucky deserves some credit. This is their first year as a full-fledged D1 school, and they made the tournament their first year.
Really?
So, got to tip my hat to them, yeah. So.
Northwestern's probably mad about that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It really took us all these years, and y'all just jump in right into it.
Yeah, exactly. And number 8 versus 9, Arkansas and Seton Hall.
Man. I don't know what to pick in this one.
I have not seen either of these teams, but just based on reputation, Seton Hall, that's one of those small schools that has a great tradition in basketball, and they've got I think this one could go either way, but I like Seton Hall. What do you think?
I think I will go Seton Hall as well. I think they're still in the Big East, I believe.
Something like that, yeah.
I think since they shuffled things up a couple years ago, I think they are still in the Big East, but I think that's going to be coin toss. I think.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. I'm curious too. Seton Hall.
They didn't put it in my newspaper, so there you go.
Yeah, they are in the Big East. Yeah.
All right. See, they're record.
All right. Minnesota, number 5 versus number 12, Middle Tennessee.
And this is the one I was saying earlier. This will be an upset for me. I like Middle Tennessee in this one.
I agree. They dominated. They wiped the floor with Conference USA this year. They breezed through the tournament. They really didn't have a ton of competition. What was their record in the end?
30-4.
Woo!
That's impressive.
Yeah, they're another team that very fast, very athletic. They're going to run the ball down your throat. They're going to definitely try to take advantage of mismatch opportunities. And Minnesota, they've done a lot of good stuff in a pretty crowded Big Ten this year. But I think Middle Tennessee is going to pull off an upset again this year.
See, this is one of those spots where I think Middle Tennessee was ranked a little too low in this tournament, seeded a little too low in this tournament. I mean, dude, you get 30-4 and only getting an 11. And granted, I know they're not playing the ACC schedule, but still.
Well, hey, I mean, if they can win as a 15 seed last year, they can do it as a 12 seed this year.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
I like their chances. Number 4, Butler versus number 13, Winthrop.
They're back after a couple-year absence.
Yeah, they've had a couple down years, but they're representing the Big South again, and I think they're going to give Butler a scare, but I don't see Butler losing this one.
Yeah, I think Butler's going to win, but I don't think Butler is quite as good as they've been for the last few years.
Yeah, they're I don't want to say their star has dimmed, but they're definitely they're staying where they are. They're not going up. They're not going down. They're basically on an even plane, and let's say Butler by 5.
Yeah, I would say like 5-7, something like that. That's kind of where I'm looking at. But yeah, I just think Butler's going to let's go take this first game. Then Cincinnati versus Kansas State, who knocked out Wake Forest last night.
They did. I think I really like. I want to pick K-State for this. Yeah. I really do. I think Cincinnati's going to win, but K-State, I've been really impressed with their coach, Bruce Weber. He's only been there for a few years, but just the way he gets his team prepared, they've got a lot of swagger, they got a lot of confidence. They're in the Big 12, which is not an easy conference, but they go out there every night and they act like they can play with anyone. And I think that's really going to pay off, if not this year, then next year.
Yeah, I think he's going to keep that team going well. But one thing I don't like this team having to play another game before they get to the spot. I just don't like that.
I think the play-in games should only be the 16 seeds, not the 11 seed in one bracket, the 16 seed in another, the 12 seed in another.
The reason they said they did this originally was so they could have some of the big schools participating in that first round. I think one way to fix that is the 16 seeds cannot be conference champions. So I think if they do it that way, then it's not going to be a conference champion right there playing in that spot. So maybe you can get one of these other schools in there that way.
Yeah, that's a good observation.
But yeah, as a great man once said, "What do I know?" But I'm going with Cincinnati in this game, really just because Kansas State played in Dayton, and now they got to fly to was it San Jose? I believe it was Sacramento. Had to go to Sacramento, and I don't like that. Not a big fan of that at all.
They're going to be feeling that.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I'm going Cincinnati there. What you got in that one?
Cincinnati, but not by much. Maybe by 4.
And I will say I kind of thought Wake Forest would win that first game too, but there you go. I think I was still taking Cincinnati over Wake if they had made it there, but it's all right. It's all right. Dayton versus the Shockers of Wichita State.
No, I think we missed one.
Did I miss one? Oh, I did miss. I missed those other 11 championships. UCLA against Kent State. Yeah.
Oh, Kent State. They actually had a pretty close conference championship game, if I remember correctly. But they actually had to play Akron, their big rival, in the Mid-American Championship game. So again, they don't get much of a consolation prize having to face UCLA, but they're gonna give it a good effort. But I can't lie. UCLA by 15. What do you think?
I mean, there's a lot of people saying UCLA is going to make it out of this bracket to the Final Four.
I like their chances. I think they're definitely. I think they're better than Arizona. That was the big debate all year in the Pac-12 and nationwide. Is Arizona better? Is UCLA better? And apples and oranges, really. Yeah. But I think UCLA overall is the better team. They're better coached. They're better prepared. They've all around. I think Arizona might have more impressive athletes, but overall UCLA has the coaching, the experience. And obviously everyone talks about their traditions and how incredibly successful they've been. But, obviously the last couple of years were not good for them. And it only took this year for everything to really click for Steve Alford and everyone over there. So
it's kind of cool that he's coaching his son, and it's his son his last year. So then Ball, that kid Ball, man, he is good.
I actually knew a guy who played with Bryce Alford in high school on the same team. So yeah,
where would they play at? And
Well, they were in Albuquerque. Alford coached at UNM before he.
Yeah, I knew he coached down there first, but I didn't know where he was at.
Yeah,
maybe they left him in Indiana, let him play there.
A good friend of mine at NMSU, her kid brother played basketball with Bryce Alford at La Cueva High School, which is basically the rich kid high school in Albuquerque. So
yeah. Well, they're not going to send him to the slums.
Oh, and of course UCLA is right down the highway from me, so plenty of people really excited around here for that.
There you go.
But now we got the Shockers.
There you go. The Flyers versus the Shockers.
I like that. That's that could be a great comic book. You got to write that.
That isn't a good idea. The Flyers versus the Shockers.
Yeah, but Dayton, they're another team that's they're usually in the tournament. They've had a decent track record of success for a while now. Yep. Wichita State, I think it's unusual for them to be seeded as low as they are seeded, but
30-4.
Again, that's crazy.
I mean, 30-4, and they're a 10 seed.
I like them. I like them as an upset there.
Yeah, I'm taking them as well. So I actually have 3 of the 10 seeds.
I think the only 10 seed I don't have is VCU, I believe.
Yeah, I took Michigan was the one I did not have.
Oh no, let me see. Yeah, I have Oklahoma State as a 10 seed going on, and Marquette, not VCU, but I do have Wichita State. So yeah, 3 out of 4.
Yep, I got 3 out of 4. So we got one different on both of them. There we go.
But then again, if Wichita State moves on, they're going to run into the big blue wall known as Kentucky. So we'll have to see how that unfolds.
Yeah, that might not last too long.
Now the round of 32.
Mm-hmm. Up back to the East.
Okay, Villanova versus Wisconsin.
Oh, that's yours.
Oh, it is mine. What do you think about Villanova versus Tech?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I got Villanova and I'm not going to say a rout, but a 15-point game.
Yeah, I've got Nova over Wisconsin, 12-point game.
Mm-hmm. So we both got the number 1 seed still advancing.
Yep. Now I've got UVA versus Florida.
So do I.
What are your thoughts?
I'm going to take the blue and orange in this one.
Okay.
Because they're both blue and orange.
You got me. That's a good one.
wait, which blue and orange did you think? Florida?
I honestly didn't think you would be taking UVA past the second round this year.
I'm taking Florida in this one, but I would love to see my Cavaliers advance, but I just don't see it happening. I really wish I did.
I'd say Florida by 6, maybe a little narrower if UVA can, bridge the gap and try to get some fast break points towards the end. But I think Florida's going to move on.
Now, I want Virginia to win to get a rematch against Villanova. Because we played them early, and we had them beat in a last-second shot. I say we because I got my hat on.
Right, of course.
But,
and a Sweet 16 rematch with Villanova, I would not voluntarily choose that. But your call.
But I'm like, hey, you know what? We had them beat. We could beat them again, even though I'm not picking my Cavaliers to make it to that round. Even though I really, really want to, but I'm not. Yeah. My heart takes UVA to the championship. My head is taking Florida.
Well, I'm the same with NMSU. My heart's taking them over Baylor. My head is like, don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have SMU and Baylor, right?
Yep. Man. I'm taking SMU in this one.
Okay. By how much?
I'm gonna be like a 3-point game. I think it's gonna be a tight game. I really do. But
what do you think gives the advantage?
I don't like Baylor. No, I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know much. I don't know a lot about SMU, but it's sometimes you just have a gut feeling, and that's where I'm going with this one. Gut feeling on this one. I think Baylor's a very good team. I don't know. For some reason I just don't think they're a great team.
No, I agree. I've got SMU going to the Sweet 16 too.
Mm-hmm. You had Baylor also?
Sorry? You
had versus Baylor also, didn't you? No, you had your team. That's right. You had your alma mater. Yes. Yeah,
I mean it's I mean just us getting past the first round of the tournament will be great.
Mm-hmm.
It's Marquette versus Duke.
I badly want to take Marquette. I badly want to take them. Just because Grayson Allen, he is another one of the Bobby Hurley, the Christian Leitner, the guy that you just hate.
Yeah.
And I will say this about Coach K. I think he is one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Agreed.
I think, and this is where everyone's going to think I'm an idiot, I think he was once underrated. I think he's gone to being overrated. And I'm not saying not way overrated, but just a little overrated now.
Well, honestly, I feel bad for him these days because I saw an interview with him. Quick side note: I saw an interview with him not that long ago, and he was talking about how difficult it is to recruit these days in basketball. Like the vast majority of these kids, they don't want to go to school. They're going to school for a year because they have to get to the NBA. And obviously, every kid has Duke on his list. Every highly rated recruit in the country wants to go to Duke, but Coach K is, say what you will about him, whether he's underrated, overrated, he's a guy who has integrity. He's someone who values doing things the right way and, making sure his kids go to class, making sure his kids are doing the right thing in the weight room, on and off the court. He really wants to, make his players succeed in every way, but I can't blame him for being frustrated because, most of these kids just want to get their ticket punched to the league. They don't want to take the time to build something that'll last at Duke.
I mean, like at UVA, all of our guys pretty much stay 4 years. Well, 3 or 4, But
it's something that it's and it also puts so much stress on you as a coach.
Yeah.
You're having to reload your roster every single year rather than building it more methodically every 4 years. It's I can only imagine how much of a nightmare it is to constantly be stressing out and trying to get a new crop of kids to come in every year, and they'll be gone after 1 or 2 years tops. So
it's funny. I think it's hard on him, but Calipari, I think it's easy for him.
Oh yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to send out recruiting letters. He can just call or text a kid or tweet at it and just be like, "Hey, come to Kentucky." Like, okay, sure.
And I think it's funny that way because I do agree that it is stressful for Coach K. But I will say this. I really think he let Grayson Allen come back too soon.
I agree.
I really thought they lost to Virginia Tech in the game that he was out, and I was like, yeah, he's probably gonna be out for about 3 games or something. They let him come back the next game, and I was like, dude.
Yeah.
That was one of those things that made me go, Coach K, come on now.
That sends the wrong message. It really does. And I mean, I really don't think Allen's learned his lesson.
Not at all. He elbowed a kid in the face the other day.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I mean, he's one of those kids that I don't ever want to see anybody fail because I'm just not that kind of person. But I just feel like he is a kid that is failing himself.
Yeah, he needs to be forcibly humble.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But,
anyway, now the West bracket.
Yeah. Let's get on to the real stuff.
Okay, you've got Gonzaga Northwestern. I've got Gonzaga versus Vanderbilt. What do you think?
I've got Gonzaga either way.
There we go. Same here. It doesn't matter.
I mean, I would really love to see Northwestern to make it to the Sweet 16 in that first trip. Just don't see it happening.
Yeah. I got a grabbing Charger.
All right. Do dee do dee dee do dee do. Let's see.
Okay. West Virginia versus Notre Dame. You had the same, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's going to be, I can see that one going into overtime too, but I'm picking the Mountaineers.
I see a battle of styles right here. I see Notre Dame being that more methodical type of team, West Virginia being that pressing one to get in the up pace. And for me, it's ever who gets their way with this game is going to win. And I'm taking the ACC in this one. I just think Notre Dame, they played tougher competition. What's the big man down low, Colston?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's a tough dude. If he stays out of foul trouble, I think they're going to win. I think they'll be able to get the ball past midcourt, breaking that press, and I think that's going to be the difference.
Yeah, I think you're right about the contrasting styles, but I do find a lot of similarities with these teams. I feel like they're both, hardworking, aggressive, blue collar type basketball.
Oh, definitely physical. Definitely physical teams.
these teams are kind of old school, and I like the way they play, and I think it's going to be. I can see this one coming down to a buzzer beater, but I like West Virginia.
So.
Okay.
So for those first 2 games, you got chalk.
Yeah.
Let's see. Florida State and Maryland for me. What did you have?
I picked Xavier over Maryland. So FSU Xavier. I'd love to see it happen, but Florida State's going to win easily.
Yeah, and I think Florida State's going to go right on past Maryland as well.
Yeah, former ACC foe. Maryland.
It's still hard for me to say that they're not. It really is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean,
I've got FSU as one of my dark horses this year. I think they're going to try to make a statement against Xavier, or in your case, Maryland. I think it's going to be. I wouldn't say a double-digit win, but I think they're really going to try to make a statement in the second round.
I could really see a 10-point game right there. I really could. I mean, I'm not going to say here, put your money on that, but I really could see them really taking that game.
And I think here we've got another difference. You've got Arizona VCU, and I've got Arizona St. Mary's.
And I got Arizona kind of running away in this game.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's one of those things where I don't think it matters who wins. I think Arizona's going to smooth all the way there. So, okay, now we're back to the Midwest. Kansas, Miami.
Let's see. Is that what I had too? Yeah, that's what I had. Is that what you had too? Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
Kansas.
I'm taking Kansas, but I think Miami can hang in there.
Yeah, they're a team that very rarely throws in the towel.
Yeah.
Again, Larinaga is one of those guys who constantly preaches the consistent effort, 2 halves. You don't quit until the final buzzer goes off. I think they're going to try to make it interesting, and frankly, I could see Kansas going into halftime with maybe a 4 or 5 point lead. I think Miami's going to play them tough, but in the second half, Kansas is going to pull away. So.
I mean, I'm thinking it's going to be like a 5-point game one way or the other. And I think it's going to be Kansas's way.
Yeah, Kansas is going to pull through. I honestly couldn't say how much, but it's going to be interesting. So I had the upset special here. Purdue versus Nevada. Nevada's going to give it everything they've got, but Purdue's going to win by 10.
I forgot we had both teams opposite in this one.
Yeah,
I've got Iowa State and Vermont, and I'm going to take. I really want to take Vermont to make it to the next round, just to have somebody, a high seed, making it to the next round.
Yeah, it's.
You know what? I'm taking Vermont to make it to the next round.
Oh.
So we have one high seed, because you figure there's not always, but a lot of the times you have one double-digit seed that makes it to the Sweet 16. I'm going Vermont in this one.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
And you picked Rhode Island over Creighton, right?
I did.
And so Rhode Island versus Oregon. What do you think? I'm
taking Oregon in this one. I think they're going to pull away in this one, I think.
I've got Oregon Creighton, and I actually think Creighton's going to win. Because again, I think they definitely have persevered when it would. I mentioned Creighton's injuries. That's been the big storyline for them in the latter half of the year. But they've had every opportunity. They've had every excuse in the book to throw in the towel, and they still haven't. So I think they're a better team than their seeding suggests. And against another team that struggled with injuries, I actually think Creighton's going to come out on top, but by that much, 2 points.
Creighton. 2 points. All right. Well, I've got Oregon running away from Rhode Island, so there you go.
Cool.
So, we got one difference. Is that our first? No, we got 2 differences in the Sweet 16 in this bracket anyway.
And I picked Oklahoma State over Michigan, and you picked Michigan, right? So Michigan-Louisville, what's your call?
I'm taking Louisville just because I think they're just a better team.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think this is where it finally catches up to Michigan.
They get an A+ for effort. They've really pulled hard. And they could be a top 25 team next year. They've got a lot of talent that's presumably coming back. So I like where they're headed, but not this
year. Yeah.
And I've got Louisville beating Oklahoma State fairly easily. I'd say 8 or 9 point win. So
there you go.
All right,
yeah.
And the South.
Our final bracket for the Sweet 16. I have Carolina against Seton Hall. Did you have Arkansas?
No, I had Seton Hall.
You had Seton Hall also?
Yeah.
I'm definitely taking Carolina in this one. I think they're big man down low. What's the guard's name? Jackson?
I think
his
so.
name. Yeah, I think he's going to have a big game up in here.
Yeah.
So.
UNC's going to win. I mean, that's going to be another case where Seton Hall's not going to go away quietly, but I say UNC by 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I figure I'm thinking maybe slightly more than that. But
maybe.
We'll see.
Yep.
Who did you have in the next one? Do you have Butler and Middle Tennessee? We both had that, didn't we?
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm picking Middle Tennessee. That's my double digit.
There's your double digit.
To the Sweet 16. Yeah. I mean, Butler again. History's on their side. Mm-hmm. They've again, just like VCU, they've had every excuse in the book to go a little further down after their coach left, but. So kudos to them for, continuing to represent their brand, and, they're going to be in the tournament every year. Mm-hmm. They've always shown a great track record of consistency. But, again, I think Middle Tennessee is just, they're under everyone's radar, and I think they're going to have a chance to win again. So
I'm just going to take Butler in this one, even though I really want to take Middle Tennessee. I just have a feeling it's going to be Butler squeezing it out. Not a huge win either way, but I think it's going to be like a 3-point game, something like that.
I'm picking Middle Tennessee by 5.
5. Mm-hmm. I got 3. You got 5.
Okay. Cincinnati versus UCLA. We had the same, right?
Yeah, I'm taking UCLA. I think they're going to roll in this game too.
I agree.
I mean, that kid Ball, man, he's good. Have you seen his little brother?
Yeah, he goes to high school in Chino Hills, which is like an hour and a half east of me, and he scored something like 75 points in a game.
He scored like 92, I think, in a game.
It's something insane. Like, he was, I mean...
Well, I saw some of the highlights in, like, the second half. I don't think he ever went over midcourt.
Yeah, he's a junior. He's not even going to be there at UCLA next year. He's a junior, and he's already committed to UCLA.
Yeah, he's already committed, yeah.
Yeah, incredible.
UCLA in a route there, yeah.
Yeah. It's not going to be pretty. Wichita State, Kentucky. I like this one.
Oh, is that what you had, Wichita also?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We're remarkably similar in picking 10s over 7s this year.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm taking Kentucky. I just think they're just so talented.
Yeah, I mean, again, you'd love to see Wichita State break the mold and go all the way to the Elite Eight like they did that one year, but... I just don't see it happening. I mean, they could make it interesting, and Kentucky might only... I don't see Kentucky winning by double digits. It's going to be closer than they want it to be, but Kentucky's going to move on regardless.
But I would say this about Kentucky. They've had some close games, and yet they still had enough to finish them off. In the SEC championship game, it was close down the end, and the one kid, it wasn't Monk, it was the other kid. I cannot think of his name, but he's the one that took over at the end.
And they beat Florida, right?
Yeah.
No. Oh, they did. Okay, yeah.
Was it Florida? Was it Georgia? I think it was Florida. In my mind, I'm saying Florida.
All right. Okay, I'll trust you on that one.
Which I'm probably wrong as usual.
Now back to the East in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, back to Florida.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Florida Nova. Who do you like?
This Sweet 16 is in New York for the East.
Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking that two regions were in the same spot. They're not. Oh man, this to me should be a good game. Florida's beat some good teams. Villanova has just been great all year. They probably have the Player of the Year on the team.
Yep.
So, a number one seed's got to lose here in this round, but I don't think it's going to be Villanova.
Right. I honestly. I like your train of thought on that, but I think Nova, is going to have a chip on their shoulder and, proving last year wasn't a fluke, all that. I think they're going to beat Florida by 8. I don't think it's going to be as close as you or other people might think it's going to be. I think Nova's going to really put their foot on the gas and really, try to run Florida ragged in that one.
Yep.
Go ahead. And I think we've got the same one here too. SMU Duke.
Yep. And I'm taking Duke in this one, and I don't want to, but I am. I really want to go against Duke.
I've got Duke in double overtime.
Double overtime.
Yes.
Great day.
I think SMU is going to play like maniacs.
If it goes like that, I say Duke will lose, and I will tell you why. One of my really good friends is a diehard Duke Blue Devil, and he says this team does not have heart. He says if it's close, they will collapse. And I'm thinking, I think it's going to be about a six-point game in regulation.
Well, I think once I don't think this Duke team is as tough as they've been in the past. I think these guys are they're a very flashy bunch. They're obviously very athletic and very experienced. But I think there's something to be said for they don't always have the toughness late in games that they should. And well, like we were talking about, I'm sure that has driven Coach K crazy all year. But again, double overtime. I think SMU is really going to lay it all out there and leave it all on the court. But I don't think Duke's going to be denied in the Sweet 16.
Now, do you know if SMU has a deep roster?
I have a feeling they do. Like
Duke does not.
Yeah, because from what I've heard, I haven't seen much of them this year. But SMU, like from what I can tell, they've got some really good 6-man type players that can rotate in and not miss a beat. So I think that speaks well for them, and probably that's going to bode well for them next year too. So
I just think Duke's gonna take it right there. I hope they don't though.
On to the West. Gonzaga versus West Virginia, but you had Notre Dame, right?
I had Notre Dame, yes.
1 versus 5.
What do you have there?
Gonzaga by 6. West Virginia, I think they've really come a long way. They've flown under the radar in the Big 12, but I think they're just going to meet their match with Gonzaga, no doubt. I think Gonzaga is just too good to be overtaken at this point in the year, and I don't see the number 1 seed going down there.
I do. I have Notre Dame taking Gonzaga out right there. I think that's gonna be the first one going down.
Okay, so first number 1 seed will be Gonzaga out at the Sweet 16. Okay,
well, yeah,
and
that means they'll win it all. I pick against them; they're going all the way.
And Florida State, Arizona.
Arizona. But I think this is going to be a battle right here.
I like FSU in this one. Arizona has... I think they're one of the most athletic teams in the country. I think they've got speed, they've got ball skills, they've got guys that can jump out of the gym. But Florida State, they've got that aggressive mentality. They've battled against everyone they've played all year. There hasn't been a single game where they haven't been competitive, and they've won a lot of games too. So I think Arizona needs to be on upset alert here, and I'm picking FSU by 4.
Oh, I'm picking Arizona by about 3, something like that. But I think it's going to be a physical war right there.
Yeah, frankly, to everyone who's watching, I think if it comes to FSU Arizona, tune your TVs to that channel. It's gonna,
that's gonna be good.
All right, back up to the Midwest.
Let's see. I forgot who you have. Purdue right here. Kansas against Purdue. Is that who you had?
Purdue, and you had Kansas versus
Vermont.
Oh, poor Vermont.
Poor Vermont is exactly right.
It was nice while it lasted.
Yeah, this number 1 seed is not going down right here.
Yeah, I think Purdue has. Let me put it this way: I think Purdue has the ability to make it interesting, but I don't think they will. I think Kansas is really gonna come ready to play, and I think they're gonna run away with it by 9.
I think Kansas is gonna win this one by about a dozen. And I think it could be more than that. If this were to happen, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and you've got Louisville, Oregon. I've got Louisville, Creighton. You start off.
I'm going Louisville. I just think you've been talking about their injuries a lot, for Oregon, but I think Coach Pitino, I think he's going to have them ready, and I think he's going to get them to that next round.
I think Louisville is going to beat Creighton by 10. Well, with Oregon, it hasn't been a ton of injuries. It's just been their one big man, Boucher, who I think he blew out his knee a couple weeks ago, and ever since then they haven't completely collapsed, but it really did affect their mental preparation. So I think again, that's why I think it's going to affect them the most in the tournament. Louisville's going to win regardless. I think again over Creighton by 10 or 12. And what was your call over Oregon?
I think it's going to be I really think they might pull away in this game by about like 8 or 9, something like that. I mean, that's not a huge thing. That's one of those free throws at the end of a game win.
Yeah.
It's like a 5-point game that ends up being like a 9-point game.
Yeah. Okay.
So, 1, 2.
All right. Now we've got
I've got UNC Butler.
I've got UNC Middle Tennessee. They're my Cinderella team this year. UNC, sorry, Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
This is gonna get ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Carolina's gonna blow out Butler too. So.
Yeah. I don't know an exact score, but UNC is UNC. They're gonna come ready.
Mm-hmm.
So. And how about UCLA Kentucky?
Man, this is a battle of the blue bloods right here. Whichever who wins, the next one's going to be just the same. UNC against ever who wins this game. I'm going to take UCLA in this game.
I am too. I think they haven't played. It's hard to describe. Like UCLA knows the hype going in.
Yeah.
I mean, they're coming off a couple disappointing years. Since Alford came on board, so the pressure was on them this year.
Yeah.
I feel like they played into the hype, but they also didn't. I feel like they were able to tune down the outside noise. The pressure, those internal expectations that always come at UCLA. So I think they've got the mojo, they've got the talent and the swagger to compete at a really high level, and I think Kentucky's going to go down by 4 points. UCLA over Kentucky by 4 points.
Did you see the thing on ESPN where they were talking about Steve Alford, how he came from Bobby Knight's school? How he was.
He went to Indiana. He went to Indiana the same time my mom went to Indiana.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was kind of funny. My mom was a music major. She very rarely went to any sports games, but IU won a national title when she was there as an undergrad.
That was in 87?
I think it was 81.
Oh, you going all the way back to Isaiah Thomas?
Yeah, and right before she went to IU was when they won the title in '76. That was like a couple of years before she started there, and that was with Scott May.
That was their last undefeated champion. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, she was a music major and very rarely went to sporting events.
Mm-hmm.
She actually walked by Steve Alford on campus one day, and then she only after the fact she realized, oh, that's Steve Alford, and then she told her roommates about it, and they're like, what? You saw Steve Alford?
Yeah, he was everything in Indiana.
He was one of the best shooters they've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
One of those guys that unfortunately just didn't really translate to the NBA. He was kind of kind of like how Steph Curry is today. Someone who is an incredible shooter, and back in the day, probably Curry probably wouldn't have succeeded. And I think Alford is kind of a similar guy in terms of shooting touch and lack of ideal size. But Alford is obviously a legend, and he was at Iowa, he was at UNM, and now he's at UCLA, and he's done incredibly well at everywhere he's gone. So
they had planes either last year or year before last flying over saying fire Alford. And he told Bobby Knight, he's like, what, one thing that's really great is finally I can see my name flying behind an airplane. See, he took that negative and turned it into a positive.
Yeah, as opposed to Bobby Knight, who would have responded to that with various 4-letter words, but
like throwing chairs at people and stuff. Very
nice. Yeah. Okay, now we've got the Elite Eight.
Mm-hmm. Woo! We got a bunch of. I got one, two. I got 2 1-2s, a 1-3, and a 2-5.
Okay, I've got 2 1-2s and 2 1-3s.
There you go.
Okay.
So I went way out on a limb.
Yeah. I'm going to switch it up a little bit and do all 4 of them at once.
Okay.
I've got Nova over Duke, Kentucky over Louisville, Florida State over Gonzaga, and UCLA over UNC.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Man, I got to talk this through.
Okay.
I got Villanova against Duke here. I'm kind of like going back and forth between them. I think I'm going to go with the experience in this one. Yeah, last year's national champion making it back to the Final Four with Villanova. And Notre Dame versus Arizona. I'm going to take Arizona. I think they're just more talented, even though I do like Notre Dame a lot. And let's see. I'm going to save that last one right there for last. Kansas against Louisville. Oh, man, that should be a really good game.
Yep.
I'm going to take Louisville for an upset right there.
Ooh,
Even though I have a feeling they're going to get routed just because I just said that. But I just have a feeling. Maybe it's ACC. Maybe that's what it is.
Well, I've got an ACC feeling with FSU. I mean, I think that's going to be it's going to be very close. But Gonzaga, I think that's going to be where their soft schedule is going to bite them. I mean, Gonzaga's always talented; they're always going to be in the mix. But FSU, I just have a really good feeling about them this year, and I think they could get to their first Final Four. So
then in that last game, taking UCLA to pull that upset against Carolina.
Same here. I've got UCLA again. I don't think they should have been a 3 seed. I feel like in that bracket it should have been Kentucky, UCLA, UNC 1, 2, 3. So I think UCLA definitely has the bodies and the athleticism to pull it off. They've been waiting to get back there for a long time. I think it's there. So now we've got the Final Four. I have Villanova, FSU, Kansas, UCLA.
Let's see. I've got Villanova, Arizona, Louisville, UCLA. So we both have two the same.
Yeah.
All right.
This is where FSU is going out. I think Nova is. It's going to be it's going to be another close game, but I'm picking Nova by 6.
Yeah, I'm picking Nova. I think probably about 6 also against Arizona.
Yeah.
And then to me, this is well, you had Kansas and UCLA, right?
Yeah.
Oh, tell me what you think there.
I prefer it if Kansas won, but I think UCLA. I don't think they're going to be denied. I've got Nova UCLA as my national title game.
That's what I've got. So there you go.
Okay, well,
even though I want an ACC team there, I just don't see it.
I mean, it's kind of like how at opposite ends of a maze, you take different routes to the middle. I think that's what we've got right here, Coach.
We both took 2 scenic routes to get there. A 1 versus a 3. I'm going. I wish I had a coin over here. I do have a coin.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, you ready?
Ready.
Okay, I gotta tell you. Can you see my coin?
Kind of.
Okay, this is the Harvey Dent coin, double-headed. It's got heads on both sides.
It's not about what's right. It's about what's fair.
That's right.
That's great.
You know what? I'm taking UCLA. I just don't think, and this is the really bad reason to pick it. I don't think Nova's going to win back-to-back years. I
think, honestly, I'm kind of on the similar line of thinking. I like both teams almost equally. And frankly, if there was a team that was going to repeat, I think Nova on paper has the best lineup and all that stuff. But again, I think UCLA, that they've been building slowly and methodically towards this moment, and given all the history they have and the talent they currently have, I think they're gonna pull it off and bring yet another title to Westwood.
My final was 75-70.
That's a good one. I think it'll be a little lower scoring than that. Let's say 69-67.
No, a 2-point game.
I mean, last year was a buzzer beater, so I think it's going to be a really exciting one this year too. So it's I think there's, again, I like almost everything about both teams, and again, on paper they've got the signature wins, they've got the experience, they've got the NBA level talent.
Yep.
I think it's just a question of, all these games always come down to one thing. Are you emotionally prepared? Are you mentally prepared? All these different balls are in the air, that are in any game, but especially on national TV on a national scale.
Yep.
So I like, again, it's just going to be, I hate to say it, but whoever, if the ball bounces their way, they're going to win. So it's something that regardless of who gets the Final Four, I do think there is an elite group of teams this year where, literally, you could flip a coin and whoever wins is the champion. I think there hasn't, I mentioned earlier, and I still think this, there hasn't been one singular dominant team this year.
Right, I totally agree.
Not Nova, not Gonzaga. They've all had their moments. But obviously, the tournament, only one guy can win. So there's always going to be that level of competition. But again, there's been a collection of 8, 10, 12 teams that have all looked really solid, and a lot of teams have had the number one spot at different times this year. But again, it just like kind of with the Super Bowl, it doesn't matter who's the best in the regular season; it's who gets hot at the right time.
Exactly right.
So I'm sticking to my guns on that, and I think UCLA they didn't have the best regular season, they didn't have the worst either, and they might not have the most talented roster in the nation, but I think more than any other team, they're going to be one that's going to deliver. They're going to answer the bell and deliver in crunch time.
I mean, when I look at this thing, I literally look at, there might be as many as 12 to 16 teams that could win it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is the deepest, most unpredictable field. So, you know what? We have, between us, we have 6 teams in the Final Four, because we have 2 the same. And to me, there's a real possibility that none of those 6 teams make the Final Four.
Who knows?
To me, that's how deep this is.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to happen. Like, that's why we love March Madness. It's unpredictable. It's exciting, and you get to cheer for your alma mater. Both of us this year, so Well,
I didn't get to go to UVA, but I pretend like I did.
Yeah, you're the honorary UVA guy.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I mean, hey, CVCC could get to the tournament someday, right?
Wait, CVCC? If you had said Liberty, I would have been like, yeah, they can.
I'm kidding. I'm just, I think there's going to be, I think it's going to be a really exciting, month or 3 weeks. I don't even know, but it's going to be about a month. But I think there's going to be a lot of stuff going on, and I think, there's definitely, like you were saying, I think that's kind of unique in a lot of sports these days. Because I mean, in college football, there about 5, maybe 10 really elite teams.
Yeah.
In the NBA, you've got about 5 or 6 really elite teams, and it's even smaller when you get to the NFL or It's interesting, year to year, seeing that kind of paradigm shift in all these different sports. Because I mean, college basketball, like I said, you're used to the usual suspects: Duke, Kentucky, Kansas. All those teams have such historic, legendary moments, coaches, players, all those people. But I think it is a unique sport because there are, even as much as we love those historic teams, there's always an opportunity to crash the party. It doesn't matter what conference you're in, and there's not a level playing field in the tournament, but there kind of is too. Yeah. So that's why we like. I think that's why most people like it so much.
Yeah, I mean I've always said this, between before the conference tournaments up through the first maybe second week of April, where I got the March Madness, and then I got the beginning of baseball. This is my favorite time of the year. I get giddy over the beginning of baseball, even though it's a really long season, almost too long. But I love this time of year.
Oh yeah, it's the calm before the storm of summer sports. I mean, there's a lot of great things going on, and one season ends and seamlessly transitions into another.
Yep.
Oh, baseball pun. Seamlessly transitioning.
Seams, yes. I had my baseball. I can show you all the seams.
There you go. We're going to have to do another one about baseball in a few months.
Yeah. My Mets are going all the way to the World Series again this year.
Okay. I'll hold you to that.
I've said that every year since 1984. 1985. That was the first year I really became a huge fan.
All right.
With Dwight Gooden and Darryl Strawberry. I got to see them play here in Lynchburg in the minor leagues. And when they made it to the major league, so 84 actually, because that's when Gooden was Rookie of the Year. 83, Strawberry Rookie of the Year. So that's when I really jumped on the Mets bandwagon. And then they both started taking drugs and kind of ruined it. I like to apologize because I jinxed their careers.
Yeah, the sad lament of every baseball fan. Oh, they were great, and then they did the steroid thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's some
steroids, some right up the nose, but still.
well, it was the '80s after all.
Oh yeah, yeah. I still remember Darryl Strawberry. It was back in probably one of my first games I ever went to Lynchburg City Stadium. I swear. I mean, his name was Darryl. That's why I became a huge fan to begin with. I was on the first base side. You've been to the City Stadium, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. Back when it was Merritt Hutchinson Stadium.
Yes.
Yeah.
He hit one, and I swear it made it all the way to the cemetery across the street. I know it did. I know it didn't. I was like 7 years old, so to me it looked like it went a mile. I'm pretty sure it did at least made the street. I mean, he killed that one, and ever since, Darryl Strawberry, my hero.
There you go.
There you go. Now he's a Christian man, goes around and does testimonies and stuff. Been to Liberty many times, too, so there you go. Changed his life. Good for him.
Yeah.
Which has nothing...
Now I know what to get you on your birthday, Coach.
I hope it's not drugs.
Strawberries.
There you go. I like strawberries.
I had to. Sorry.
There you go. What was it?
Right.
By the way, Darryl Strawberry, when he was in high school, was highly recruited in basketball as well.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
There you go. He was quick, lean, and man, he could have been great there too. There you go.
Yep.
So, all said and done, UCLA is going all the way.
I like that pick.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
There we go. Anything else?
I think we're good here. Thanks again for having me, and
Certainly.
I'll be sure to continue to make guest appearances at your discretion.
Yeah.
So, always great seeing you, Coach. And,
good seeing you.
And all you listeners and viewers out there, appreciate you guys taking the time to check out our predictions.
And for those who don't know, again, Rick over here one day is going to be a famous movie director, and I will be making cameos.
Indeed, he will.
So there we go. You've already promised me, and Troy. So there you go.
Yeah.
We've been promised spots.
Absolutely. All right.
All right, man. All right, buddy.
Thanks.
You have a good one, man. And
You
everyone, y'all have an incredible day.